Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the TGC anniversary here for 2026. And this year, I'm actually going to at least make an attempt at putting out a video or videos on all four of the channels now. And here on TGC Radio, the music channel, the first video we're doing is an album ranking of every studio album, all 10 of them, from Maine. Now, Maine is a band that I have recently got into over the last few years and have been delving deep into their discography. And this will only be their 10 studio albums. I won't include the EPs, acoustic albums, and stuff like that. Just the 10 studio albums. And yeah, in case you don't know, they are basically just an alternative rock band from Arizona. They get lumped in with some like the pop punk and some emo bands from around the same time they put out their first album in 2008. They technically started, well, their origins date all the way back to 2003. We can get into that later. So yeah, I've been really getting into them, and I've been very much enjoying everything I've listened to. And yeah, I want to do this. No, I won't be doing, so 4 channels, 30 days. It'll be 32 videos. I'm probably already going to explain that in another video. Maybe like an intro video or something for the anniversary series this year. But yeah, so every channel, all 4 will have 8 videos, and I won't be doing album rankings on 8 different bands. My plan right now is to do 4 full discography rankings, and then 4 like top 20 song rankings. Anyway, let's jump into it here. And I'm using the Tiermaker site, but funny enough, they actually don't have one updated for Joy Next Door, the album they put out this year in 2026. But that's fine. I'm going to be doing it my own way. Anyway, this is just for giving me something to look at here. But yeah, the Maine start off with their debut studio album, Can't Stop, Won't Stop, released on Fearless Records in 2008. And it is a very solid debut album. I like it a lot. In fact, let me pull up my notes here, because, you know, I do have some notes, and I'm sometimes professional. Most of the time I'm not, but sometimes I'm professional. But yeah, Can't Stop, Won't Stop is a solid debut album. I like it a lot. And, you know, I think the album starts off pretty strong, though I do feel like it gets a bit weaker in its back half, and I know that's just a me thing, because I know people who love the band and love the final few songs on Can't Stop, Won't Stop. And I did want to make a note that, yeah, I like the album a lot. My fave songs are definitely some of the bigger songs, like Everything I Ask For, We All Roll Along, and Into Your Arms, and my least favorite is absolutely You Left Me, but again, I also know people really like that one. Just my opinion. But yeah, I think Can't Stop, Won't Stop is a very solid debut. And of course, the only album they put out on Fearless Records. And for me, I should probably introduce my tier rankings, because they are a bit different from the other album rankings I've done. So, normally I like to, well, number one, use, actually, perfect shirt I'm wearing for this. I like to use, like, periodic table elements / metals for my tiering. So, I like to use platinum, gold, silver, bronze, aluminum, and because my best friend Tyson likes to use copper and other things, including darts for some reason, copper is the trash tier. So, copper is equivalent to trash in my ranking system. Gold is for, like, absolute, like, excellent albums. Silver is great. Bronze are good albums. Aluminum is okay. Like, they're fine. Now, platinum used to be, like, this is a perfect album. It's a masterpiece. And I'm changing that because I wanted to have, like, the absolute top, like, ranking, the top tier, for me be platinum still, but it now means that it is an album that just like has like a true emotional connection for you. Like, it stands head and shoulders above the rest, and it makes you feel something. Like, again, it just has that emotional connection for you, and that is platinum. Which also means now that which also means now I only have one proper like bad, but that's fine. I feel like we need more good than bad anyway for the tiering. But yeah, so in saying that, bronze being good albums, that is exactly where I feel Can't Stop Won't Stop lies. It is a good album, but I don't think it quite reaches great. And then the follow-up came out in 2010 and is their only, well, debatable. It's debatable, but it feels like it's really their only major label album. And that is Black and White. Though technically, when they recorded Pioneer, the follow-up, they were still signed, but whatever. Black and White is the only one that, like, a major label had something to do with. And I like this album a lot. Now, when I first listened to it a few years ago, I thought Can't Stop Won't Stop was easily better. And now I like Black and White a lot more. I used to think Black and White was really just... like, on first listen, it felt like, oh, this is what a major label wants the Maine to sound like. Like, it's a major label telling the Maine to make, like, a pop-punk album. And I do think there's elements there, but I also don't completely agree with that now either. But I like Black and White a lot. And I think as a whole album, I prefer it to Can't Stop, Won't Stop. But I think Can't Stop has some more standouts. And the songs I really like on Can't Stop, I think, just edges out Black and White. But I think both are good albums, and which means they both go in bronze. But Can't Stop is a bit higher. Just a little bit. But then we're going to follow that up with Pioneer, which is their third album. And broken record, but I like this a lot. For the record, I like every single album from this band a lot. But yeah. And right away, I could say, like, this is my favorite that they've done to this point. I like it more than the first two. One thing I wanted to note especially was I love the guitar tone on this album. I love the guitar tones on the album. And I really like songs like My Heroine and Misery, to name just a couple, but I really like... I like the album so much. I felt it was easily their strongest to this point. I mean, just looking at the track listing again, Identify is a great opener. My Heroine follows it up very nicely, I think is an even better song. I like Time, I like the whole album so much. I don't want to just read off the whole thing. But yeah, it's a very strong album. I think it's easily the strongest of the first three. And I think it still holds up super well today even. And is one of their best, absolutely. I really like While Listening to Rock and Roll and how it transitions perfectly into Waiting for My Sun to Shine. Now, admittedly, Waiting for My Sun to Shine is the closer, but then you get like 5 minutes of silence before a hidden track called One Pack of Smokes, which is also good, but the 5 minutes of silence is weird, especially listening to it now. But hidden tracks used to be super popular for CD and vinyl, so I get the idea, but execution's a bit weird. But yeah, Pioneer, I think, easily is a great album. In fact, it's more than great. I put it in gold. I think it is an excellent album. But then after Pioneer, fully independent, they would put out Forever Halloween in 2013. And I know people love this album, and it is some people's favorite still to this day from the band. But until my most recent re-listen, it never quite clicked for me. I think Forever Halloween is a really good album. I think it starts off strong. I like how it ends. It doesn't falter in the middle, but despite all of that, it's yet to completely win me over, I've always liked the album since I got into this band. And I do think overall it's stronger than Can't Stop in Black and White, but I don't like it more than Pioneer. And for that reason, Forever Halloween is going to go in my silver tier, which is for great albums, of course. I do think it's a great album, but I don't think it's their best. And I do prefer Pioneer. And by the way, I'm not going to be talking too much about some of these. I want the video to try and be like rather quick and concise, you know, which is something that the Maine likes to do for their albums. They're rather short, concise, and always leaves me wanting more, but they always feel like they say what they want to, or say all they need to. But anyway, in 2015, another fully independent album. Everything's fully independent from this point forward. 2015, American Candy. And I think the best thing I can say about American Candy is that it flows super well. It's short, concise. Every song leaves me wanting more while feeling like complete songs, and it's incredibly replayable. I love this album. But, in saying that, I don't have a super like emotional connection to it, and that's one thing I could say with the Maine. As much as I love them as a band, and I love some of these albums, nothing has left like a super emotional connection to me, which is why I could say I'm not going to give anything platinum to spoil that. But American Candy is great. I love Miles Away as an opener. And right away from like doing all the re-listens, I already felt more for this song than I did for anything on Forever Halloween. That chorus I think is so good, and it's a killer way to open up the album, and I really like the outro as well. Then Same Suit, Different Tie carries the momentum perfectly with another great chorus. My Hair is a bit different to the first two, but it still fits and still carries the momentum. And it's just really fun. English Girls, like, what do I say about English Girls, you know? Like, coming to the re-listen, it was easily my fave song on the album, and I think it's still my fave on the album. One of my favorites from the band, period. I love this song. It feels impossible to not sing along to that chorus. Like, English Girls is easily a top-tier track from the Maine. Easily. One of their best. Like, they absolutely killed it, not only on this album, but especially this song. And then we immediately transition from English Girls into 24 Floors, which is another one that I've listened to a lot. And the transition is, I think, just great. And obviously, you know, I think it's a good song and how, like, I think 24 Floors is such a good song for how it clearly describes depression. But then also having quotes from someone else, having quotes representing someone else's words playing in your head while you're having those depressive thoughts, so like potentially suicidal thoughts. I love 24 Floors and what it tackles and how it does it, and I think it's such a well done song. Love this song as well. Then we have the truly fun Diet Soda Society, which again, it's fun. I like the song a lot. Then Am I Pretty? Once again, this carries the momentum from Diet Soda really well, and it's just another super fun song. Then Unlost slows things down again, like with My Hair and 24 Floors, but still works. Title track, American Candy, keeps the momentum from Unlost slowing things down, but then they also get really loud in the chorus, and I love the bridge, and I also wanted to shout out Pat's drumming on this song specifically, and it's a killer title track. Then we have the closer, which is a super beloved song from the band. Basically everyone loves this song, and I don't know if it's still a staple of their live set, but it was for a long time. It's Another Night on Mars, and I believe it wasn't even like originally a single or meant to be a single, though it does have a music video now, so do with that what you will. They really only have one verse in the song that repeats, kind of like Mr. Brightside. The second verse adds in a few things on top of the first, repeating the first verse, but still Still the same first verse structurally. But it works, and it really is a great closing track, and I see why it's the most popular song on American Candy. It's a phenomenal song and a great closer. Again, I don't have like a super emotional connection to anything from the Maine, but this now becomes my favorite album from the Maine so far, and what we're going through, eclipsing Pioneer in the gold/excellent tier. It is an excellent album for sure. But then 2017's follow-up, Lovely Little Lonely. And I said immediately, there's just something about this album that I really like. I do like some songs on American Candy a little bit better, but I think this is a better album. Not by much, but it is better for me. And then I do break down some of the songs like I did American Candy as well. Don't Come Down is another high-energy song to kick off an album, just like, basically, to that point, all their other openers, and I really like this one, too. Bad Behavior picks up after Don't Come Down, and I said it really makes me think of American Candy, even though I actually listened to this album first. Because, yeah, I don't know why I did that. I started with Can't Stop, and then went to Lovely Little Lonely. Why? I don't know. Probably because I saw Black Butterflies was, like, their most popular song on streaming, so that's probably why, but I don't know. Yeah, this song reminds me a little bit of American Candy, and I like that. And then we have an interlude called Lovely. Lovely is a nice 30-second instrumental that leads into the great Black Butterflies in Deja Vu, which again wasn't even a single, but it is actually the band's biggest song, their most streamed song. And yeah, this is a true standout, and I think the first standout on the album. I like Don't Come Down and Bad Behavior a lot, but I think this is the first true standout on the album, and I totally understand why everyone seems to love Black Butterflies. Great song. Now, one that immediately actually like became a favorite for me is the next song, Taxi. And I said, it's always been funny to me that I fell in love with Black Butterflies on the first listen, and then this song immediately took the spot as my fave on the album, and I still love Taxi, and I have to sing along to that chorus every single time. And do I think Taxi is my favorite on the album now? I don't know. I think it's probably between Black Butterflies and Taxi, but it's kind of like Catch Me on a Certain Day, I might have a different answer. Some days it's Black Butterflies, some days it's Taxi. But Taxi is a great song. I love this song a lot. Then Do You Remember, the other half of 23. This song is the halfway point of the album, and it's interesting that besides Lovely, every song has been a faster, high-energy song. Normally they have a slower song, but not yet. Either way, I like Do You Remember a lot. And the beginning of that chorus with the Do You Remember gets stuck in my head all the time. So yeah. And then we have Little, the next part of our, I guess, trilogy of title tracks. I said, the drums from Do You Remember carry over into this interlude. We get some lyrics as well, and the song flows into our next one pretty well, which brings us to the sound of Reverie. The verses slow things down a little bit, but the chorus picks up again. Lost in Nostalgia is basically another interlude, but I do like it. I Only Want to Talk to You is next, and I said that song starts off a little differently to the others. Lonely, like every other song, the previous flows in this one perfectly. The third part of our title tracks fits in with the other two parts. I like them all, and it flows perfectly into our closer, How Do You Feel, which is a great closing track and a great chorus as well. And overall, I think what I said stands true. While there may be some songs I prefer a little bit on American Candy, as a whole, I do prefer Lovely Little Lonely as an album. It's also gold tier, excellent album, and just slightly edges out American Candy at the top of gold tier. And then in 2019, they continued the 2-year album cycles with You Are Okay. And I said right away, this was like a pretty natural extension of where the band was heading after the last couple of albums. I still like it a lot, with a couple of songs that I really like. That said, I don't love it either. It's still a really solid album, and I probably like it a little bit more than Forever Halloween. Honestly, just re-listening to the beginning of some songs after listening to XOXO, again, made me immediately remember how much I like all these songs. And I said, ultimately, I think it's tied with XOXO and it's equally as good, which leaves You're Okay in the silver tier above Forever Halloween. And brings us to XOXO from Love and Anxiety in Real Time, which is, of course, their 2021 album. And I said, I feel about the same as You're Okay. Maybe slightly preferring You're Okay. And I actually wrote all this for XOXO before going back and re-listening to some of the stuff from You're Okay again. And these two, I had so much trouble figuring out where I wanted to place them in the tiers. I really did. And I do think they're equally as good. But I like everything on here. But the only song I love is the closing track. Though I might need to re-listen again, which is exactly what I did. And I said after that, I've started to think I feel the same way about this and You're Okay as I do about Can't Stop in Black and White. Though comparing this to Black and White, I feel like that album is stronger early while this gets better through its runtime. Which brings us to track by track for XOXO, which I did. Opening track is Sticky, and I said it's a really good opener. It's fun and upbeat, and it feels like a perfect opener for this album. Then Sticky follows, then Lips follows up Sticky. And I said, I also really like the lead guitar in this song, too. And it might be because I'm not super familiar with the 1975, but the lead guitar reminds me of them. Then we have High Forever, after an interlude, of course, which is Love in Real Time. High Forever gives us something different to the first two, but it still works and it's good. Then April 7th, I said, upon April 7th starting again, I realized that this is definitely one of my favorites on the album, and I really like the chorus of April 7th. Then If Your Light Goes Out is another chorus that is really good. This slows things down a bit, but it's still just as good. My second favorite on the album so far. Pretender, you know what? This album actually gets better as it goes. I think I still like April 7th a little bit more, but this is now my second favorite. Dirty Pretty Beautiful. Yeah, this is just getting better as it goes. This song rules, and I think this is now my second favorite. Super fun song. Anxiety in Real Time. This song slows us down a bit, and I'm already feeling it. I really like this song too, and I think this is probably my third favorite, right behind Dirty Pretty Beautiful, and then Face Towards the Sun, the closing track. This song, instrumentally, I love this song instrumentally. It was the first real standout for me, and it's still great, and it's a great way to close out this album. And I don't know if it quite surpassed April 7th in my book, but yeah, it's either my first or second favorite overall. And you could tell on the re-listen just how much I was really starting to feel the album, and I do think it gets better throughout its runtime. And while I do feel it's equally as good to You're Okay, I do think XOXO just edges it out and puts it at the top of silver tier. It is a great album. And then we have Self-Titled from 2023. And overall, I said, I think Self-Titled is a good album. Such a good album, even. I like every song a lot, and I definitely like it more than You're Okay and XOXO. And I think I like it a little more than Pioneer. And as a whole album, I might like it a little more than Love Little Lonely, but I'm not quite sure, and I really could not decide exactly where I wanted to place Self-Titled, the Maine. I do think, I knew I wanted it in gold tier, but I could not decide exactly where I wanted it, ultimately. So, like I said, I know it's gold tier. I like the whole thing more than Pioneer. But do I like it? Do I like it more than American Candy and and Love Little Lonely? It's a gold tier, excellent album for me. And I think, I know that both American Candy and Love Little Lonely have songs that I like more than songs on Self-Titled. But I think as a whole, right now, Self-Titled should split the difference and be right in between Lovely Little Lonely and American Candy in my gold tier. Which then brings us to their 10th studio album, the one released this year, Joy Next Door. And, okay, so Joy Next Door is the first new release from this band since I got into them. Because I didn't get into them until after Self-Titled. So it's my first new release from the band since I got into them. And one thing I wanted to say early on this re-listen, because I've already listened to it a couple of times before re-listening to it for preparation of this video. And one thing I want to say is, again, I really like the guitar tones on this album a lot. And I said this band just has such a knack for making relatively short albums, very concise, always leaves me wanting more, while it feels like they still say everything that they want to or need to. Which I mentioned earlier, but I wanted to mention specifically with this album as well, and just the band in general. I said it's a great album. I don't think it's my fave album from them, but it is on the same level as my other faves from this band, and it is a gold tier, and I'll explain why now. The opening track is Green. And I said, having listened to a lot of the Maine recently, this song feels like the band, but also different too, which is super cool because it shows that they didn't want to make something that they've already done. I like those other albums, which do sound similar to one another, but this feeling different is cool, and it's a very good opener. Then we have Alone for a Year, which I said carries the momentum from the first really well, and is also just a good song. I really like the chorus on this song, and this is probably a little better than the opener to me. Just a little bit. Then we have Half a Spark. This song starts off very rocky, and also this chorus is great. Of the first three, this is the best chorus by far. Though the verses feel closer to what they've done previously, still great, and I think for me right now is the best song of the first three on the album. Then we have Palms, which is another song that carries the momentum of the previous songs really well. I don't like it quite as much as Half a Spark, but it's still good, and I like it about the same as the first two. Then, title track, Joy Next Door. The title track brings us down with a different vibe to the rest of the album thus far. Again, it's really cool that the band just knows who they are. This song, despite being different to the rest so far, is still very clearly the main. What's also interesting is I feel like they have songs like this often when they do have a title track. I get the same vibes from Joy Next Door as a song as I do from like Lovely, Little, and Lonely on that album. Though American Candy's title track is different, but they do it sometimes. They do it sometimes, you know. But still, I'm sure you get my point. I like the title track a lot. Not my favorite, but I like it a lot. Then we have 331. This song picks things back up again. The pre-chorus takes a bit of a back seat before picking up in the chorus again, and I like this a lot. On this re-listen, this is my second fave right now behind Half a Spark. Then we have Quiet Part Loud, which is the second single released before the album, and I like this a lot. Interestingly, this song brings things down again, but it works. Then we have Parking Garage song number 5, which wasn't originally on the album, and the guys said that they really wanted the song to be on the album, but they just didn't. They left it off initially because they wanted to put more work into this song. So then a month later, they added the song onto streaming services right in between Quiet Part Loud and Die to Fall. And Parking Garage song number 5, I said the song that wasn't quite ready with the rest, so they added it in a month later. And I think it works really well where it's placed. I like the transition between Quiet Part Loud and Die to Fall, but this picks things up just a little bit more than Quiet Part, which makes the transition into Die to Fall feel a little more natural. It's a really good song too. I like it a lot. And I understand why, the guys wanted to put a little more time into this one. But then we have the lead single, Die to Fall, and I think they made the perfect choice. This feels exactly like the band and leads us very nicely into this new album, and I think this is probably still my favorite on the album, but I have had the most time with it, so do with that what you will. But it is a great song. And then we have a brief commercial break, which is an interlude before getting into our final two songs, and it works to bring us into our penultimate song, It's Not Over Yet. And the first thing I want to say about It's Not Over Yet, Pat and Garrett are really the focal point for this song, which is cool. I'll always appreciate when the rhythm section gets some time to shine. And they do. And of course they do on other songs on this album and on other albums as well. But I just want to mention it here. Like, there's a lot of bass and drums, like, really shining on this song, and that's cool. And it's a great song. I do really like this one a lot, too. And of course I said, time for our closer. This is the longest song on the album, but it's still only 4 minutes. Though, they have had closing tracks, which technically, you know, are, like, 14 minutes, 9 minutes, etc. Though, again, 14 minutes is on Pioneer, and it's Waiting for My Sun to Shine, which 5 minutes of silence before getting to One Pack of Smokes, but whatever. Anyway, yeah. I said this is a good closing track. It's not my favorite on the album, but I like the chorus a lot, and it's a perfect closer for this album. And that being said, now where do I place Joy Next Door? I said, like I said earlier, it's also a gold tier album. I think it's just about as good as my other favorites from this album, from this band. And where do I place it? Honestly, as a whole album, I think, as of right now, I think I like it a little bit more than Self-Titled. But do I like it more? Again, I think it's similar. I think I feel similar to Self-Titled right now, where I think as a whole album, I like it a bit more than like Lovely Little Lonely. But the songs I really love on Lovely just edges out Self-Titled and this album. So I think Joy Next Door I would place in between Lovely Little Lonely and Self-Titled. And I'll run through what we've got as a recap. So in my platinum tier, which is now something you have an emotional connection to, the album makes you feel something, I don't have anything. In my gold tier, which is for excellent albums, I have Lovely Little Lonely at the top, followed by Joy Next Door, Self-Titled, American Candy, and Pioneer, which, yes, I know is half of the band's output as a band, but still, I think it's fitting. I would say they are all gold. But then in my silver tier, which is for great albums, I have XOXO, You Are Okay, and then Forever Halloween. And then my bronze tier, which are good albums, Can't Stop, Won't Stop, and Black and White, and nothing lower than that. I think even at their worst, quote unquote, they are still good. So yeah, that is my tier ranking, that is my album ranking for the Maine. I like this band a lot. I love basically everything that they've done to this point. I can't wait for even more. And that's really all I've got. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments. Leave a like, obviously comment down below. Let me know how you feel about the Maine, if you know about them, if you're into them. Or if you decide to get into them because of this video, maybe. That's a possibility. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment down below, share it up on social media, do all that good stuff. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.